Now, South Africa has banned its national cricket and rugby federations from hosting or bidding for international tournaments for at least a year due to their failure to increase representation of black players. Sports Minister Fikile Mbalula said the athletics and netball federations were also barred from bidding to stage global events after a report showed that 4 out of the 5 biggest sports have failed to create enough opportunities for black players. The minister's decision was a major blow to the South African Rugby Union's intention to bid for the 2023 Rugby World Cup. The bidding process starts next month. South Africa's government has been pushing for more black players to be included in the nation's most popular sports, but more than 2 decades after the end of apartheid, whites still make up the bulk of players in athletics, cricket, netball and rugby. Right, let's get you more now on that story. I'm joined live from Johannesburg by CCTV's CS du Plessis. CS, it seems a rather harsh move from the government. How have federations in South Africa reacted?
I think harsh is exactly that word that they feel it is coming from the sports minister. But the South African Rugby Union themselves have been the most outspoken, with the CEO, Yuri Roo, today just saying that he feels that according to their barometer in 2015, they've addressed 11 of the 13 dimensions. He does say that he believes they will be on track for the 2017 bidding process, if I can put it that way, for the 2023 World Cup. That bidding process comes to an end at the end of 2017. He believes with the next report that comes out, which is expected to be around November, that they will be on track and that ban will be uplifted. So he's still confident that South Africa will bid for the 2023 Rugby World Cup. Cricket South Africa have come out and said that they're going to study the report further before they address the media and release a statement, while Athletics South Africa's President Alex Kosana has said he will meet the Sports Ministry this week to clarify matters surrounding the African Championships. The good news, though, is that 2022 Commonwealth Games is still happening in Durban, and that's regardless of the ban. So that is the good news, but I think surprise is the best way to describe it from the South African sports federations.
And of course, the timing of the decision has also been something of a surprise. As you mentioned, the 2023 bid for rugby, that of course begins next month. Why did this decision come now?
It's always been a hotly debated topic in South African sport. For over the last 20 years, there's been talk about transformation, getting it right at grassroots level first, and then seeing the results at international level. So it has always been a touchy subject for sports federations. And in 2014, the eminent group of people that have compiled these reports put together another report in 2014, which sort of set the ball rolling. And the sports minister has had a bit of a bee in his bonnet ever since for transformation in sport. So this is his way of really slapping the federations on the wrist and saying to them they need to sort their houses out now and get transformation right. The feeling across the sort of media in South Africa is that it's a very tricky situation because it's difficult to gauge at international level when grassroots is where the focus should be.
And as you say, of course, the minister has a bee in his bonnet. He's taking the matter incredibly seriously as far as his wish is concerned to see more transformation in sports. But do analysts in the country agree that federations are failing in inclusivity?
It's a very difficult one. I think the sentiment from one particular group of analysts is that it's a contrived target set by the South African Sports Ministry and that there's not enough being done at grassroots level to get these guys coming through. If you think about the next World Cup South Africa is targeting, especially Rugby World Cup and those sort of things, some of the guys that they're looking at, the players and sportsmen, are 15 years old. So 8 years from now, 2023 sort of scenario, roundabout there, these guys have to be nurtured at this point. So the analysts are very critical of this, but they do believe from other parts of South Africa that the sports minister is right in clamping down on these federations and getting it right. They now have to make a stand and they have to get their houses in order. So it's a mixed bag here in South Africa, but the general feeling is that the federations will get it right shortly.
All right, CS du Plessis, thanks for that update live for us there in Johannesburg.